A cosmic visitor has entered our solar system, a silent traveler from the depths of interstellar space. It appeared without warning, gliding through the cosmic dark like a ghost ship cutting across an endless ocean. Astronomers call it 3I/Atlas, the third known interstellar object ever detected, after Oumuamua and Borisov. But this one behaves differently. Even among cosmic wanderers, 3I/Atlas is strange. Its path through our solar system feels deliberate, almost calculated, as if some invisible hand had drawn its course with precision. Far above the volcanic ridges of Hawaii, the Atlas Observatory first caught sight of the object on a quiet July night. Amid the hum of equipment and the steady flicker of data, a streak of light appeared on the screens. It was moving too fast, too confidently to belong to our sun. Not a comet, not an asteroid, something else entirely. Its motion didn't loop or wander. It sliced straight through the solar system on a single, unbending line. For a moment, silence filled the observatory. Then came the realization this was not from here. It was something from the gulf between stars, a messenger from the dark beyond our solar system. Astronomers soon labeled it 3I/Atlas, short for the third interstellar object, discovered by the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System. But no name can capture the meaning behind it. Imagine a mountain of rock and metal, 10 kilometers wide, hurtling through space at over 130,000 miles per hour, fast enough to cross the distance between the Earth and the Moon in less than 5 hours. Picture Mount Everest, detached from our planet, gliding silently through the solar system. That's the scale we're talking about, and yet not even the sun's mighty gravity can hold it. 3I/Atlas doesn't orbit the sun. It escapes it. Data from observatories across the world confirmed what seemed impossible. Its trajectory was hyperbolic, a mathematical signature that screams outsider. It entered our solar system from the direction of Pegasus, the constellation of wings and flight, and now it's cutting a clean path through our celestial neighborhood before heading back into the interstellar void. The object's surface, faintly reflective, suggests a strange mix, not the black velvet of carbon-rich asteroids, nor the crystalline shimmer of icy comets, but something in between. Metallic, perhaps, solid. At first, astronomers assumed it might be another Oumuamua, that curious cigar-shaped rock from 2017 that defied expectations. But 3I/Atlas is far larger, far steadier, and in some ways even more mysterious. Oumuamua tumbled chaotically as it passed through our solar system, its brightness flickering irregularly. 3I/Atlas, by contrast, rotates calmly once every 11.5 hours, perfectly balanced, almost too precise. No tumbling, no random flares of light, no signs of icy outgassing that usually define comets. Just a silent, smooth rotation, a rhythm that feels engineered. Spectroscopic data deepen the mystery. The light reflected off its surface revealed traces of iron and nickel, materials that typically form deep within planetary crusts, not on the surface of icy comets. That means 3I/Atlas might not be a loose collection of frozen gas and dust, but a fragment of something much larger, perhaps the metallic core of a shattered world. Or, as some quietly whisper, something that was once built. The object's behavior only adds to the speculation. As it passed near the sun, astronomers expected it to brighten dramatically. Sunlight should have vaporized surface ice, creating a glowing tail. But nothing happened. Its brightness barely changed. It shed no dust, no gas. It didn't flare or deviate from its path. It simply continued gliding, smooth and silent, as if unaffected by the star's heat. That level of composure is unheard of in natural bodies of its kind. It behaves less like a comet and more like a spacecraft. Even its path seems deliberate. When scientists plotted its trajectory, they noticed something uncanny. 3I/Atlas entered our solar system from the direction of Pegasus, the winged horse, and will exit toward Lyra, the celestial harp. Pegasus to Lyra, wings to strings, as if tracing a message written across the heavens. Its orbit is open, not elliptical, meaning it won't return. In celestial terms, its path says, "I do not belong here." Yet the curve of that path, graceful, measured, exact, feels too perfect to be random. At its closest, 3I/Atlas will pass roughly 167 million miles from Earth, far enough to be safe but close enough to study. Yet fate, or perhaps something else, seems to have planned the timing. During its closest approach, the Sun will stand directly between Earth and the object, blinding our view. For several days, 3I/Atlas will vanish completely, hidden behind solar glare, invisible to every telescope. And when it emerges, it will already be leaving. Some scientists call that coincidence. Others call it choreography. Among those intrigued is Avi Loeb, the Harvard astrophysicist who first proposed that Oumuamua might have been artificial. Now he's watching 3I/Atlas with renewed curiosity. To him, its behavior feels like a message written in geometry, precision disguised as chance. Nature improvises, Loeb once said. Technology leaves straight lines, and 3I/Atlas, by all appearances, moves in straight lines. Even the probabilities refuse to comfort skeptics. The odds that a random chunk of interstellar debris would pass through our solar system at this speed, this angle, with this perfect alignment and remain stable are about 1 in 20,000. A mere 0.05%. The same eerie fraction that seems to follow every analysis. So what is it, really? A fragment of a destroyed exoplanet? A dormant core ejected from a distant system? Or could it be something else? A probe, ancient and autonomous, gliding through the galaxy on a mission written long before humanity ever looked up at the stars? For now, we can only watch. 3I/Atlas continues its journey, silent and steadfast, carving a flawless line through our solar system. It does not flare or stumble. It does not speak. But its motion feels intentional, as though somewhere, light years away, someone once made a choice that sent it here. And as it fades back into the darkness between stars, it leaves behind not answers, but questions. Questions about who we are, what might be out there, and whether the universe, vast and empty as it seems, is watching us back. When scientists first traced its orbit, what they found left them speechless. 3I/Atlas wasn't just passing through, it was moving in a way that defied expectations. Unlike Oumuamua, which zipped past the Sun at blistering speed before vanishing into the void, 3I/Atlas seemed to slow down as it entered the inner solar system. Its deceleration wasn't explained by gravity alone. Some speculated that solar radiation or outgassing could be responsible, but there was no visible tail, no signs of material escaping its surface. It behaved like a comet without being one, like a ship braking before reaching its destination. This subtle change in velocity drew intense curiosity from astronomers worldwide. Could it be a natural fragment from another star system or something else? A piece of ancient alien debris, perhaps even a probe from a civilization long gone? The idea sounded absurd, yet the data forced even the most skeptical scientists to pause. 3I/Atlas was unlike anything they'd ever seen. As telescopes tracked its trajectory, another strange detail emerged. Its rotation was irregular. It tumbled in a chaotic pattern, suggesting that it wasn't a smooth, solid body but an oddly shaped object. Maybe fractured, maybe hollow. Each reflection of sunlight off its surface flickered differently, almost like a coded signal, though no one dared make that claim aloud. It was just too unbelievable. Still, whispers began spreading through the astronomy community. What if 3I/Atlas wasn't just a cosmic accident? What if it carried secrets from a star system far older than ours, drifting silently through space until fate brought it here? Then came the night when something even stranger occurred. As 3I/Atlas passed the orbit of Mars, several deep space observatories detected a brief, narrowband radio pulse, faint but unmistakably structured. It lasted less than a second, then vanished. At first, the detection was dismissed as interference. But when the same pattern appeared again 3 nights later, and from the exact direction of 3I/Atlas, skepticism began to erode. No one wanted to say it outright, but the implication hung in the air. The signal was not random. It repeated at fixed intervals with gaps that resembled prime number sequences, something nature rarely produces by accident. Within days, research teams from NASA, the European Space Agency, and China's fast observatory all turned their antennas toward the object. Yet, after that third pulse, 3I/Atlas went silent. No further transmissions. Just the steady, glimmering reflection of sunlight off its irregular surface, like an eye watching from afar. Had we just glimpsed evidence of intelligence, or had we misread a cosmic coincidence? No one could agree, but as the object continued its slow, deliberate trajectory toward the sun, one thing became clear: 3I/Atlas wasn't done surprising us. By the time 3I/Atlas crossed the asteroid belt, it had become one of the most closely watched objects in the solar system. Every major observatory pointed its instruments toward it, each hoping to capture even a fragment of understanding. High-resolution images revealed that its surface wasn't uniform. It shimmered in irregular patches, as though made of reflective metallic material partially covered in a darker, rock-like crust. Spectral analysis only deepened the mystery. The composition didn't match anything typically found in comets or asteroids. Some wavelengths hinted at complex alloys, materials that usually require intense heat and deliberate manufacturing. Yet, it was still far too distant for a probe or spacecraft to reach it in time. Humanity could only observe, speculate, and wonder. Meanwhile, amateur astronomers reported something odd: faint fluctuations in its brightness that followed no clear pattern. Some said the light changes resembled Morse-like pulses, though professional astronomers quickly dismissed that idea as coincidence or instrumentation error. But among those who watched it night after night, a quiet sense of unease began to spread. 3I/Atlas wasn't behaving like a rock. It was behaving like something alive, or at least, something aware. As 3I/Atlas neared the inner regions of the solar system, the world held its breath. The object's path would bring it dangerously close to the sun, just like Oumuamua before it. But this time, there was something distinctly intentional about its movement. The angle of its trajectory, the rate at which it adjusted its spin, even its subtle changes in brightness. Everything seemed choreographed, like a silent performance unfolding on a cosmic stage. Space agencies collaborated across continents to study it. New data from the James Webb Space Telescope revealed an astonishing detail. The strange object wasn't simply reflecting sunlight, it was emitting faint infrared energy of its own. Something on its surface was active, though no one knew what. The energy signatures pulsed in perfect synchronization, as though following an internal rhythm. When scientists plotted those intervals on a graph, they discovered something chilling. The pattern corresponded almost exactly to the Fibonacci sequence, the mathematical ratio found throughout nature, from spiral galaxies to seashells. Coincidence? Perhaps. But if it wasn't, then someone or something had built 3I/Atlas with knowledge of the same universal mathematics that life on Earth seems to follow instinctively. As it approached the orbit of Venus, the object began to glow faintly blue, brighter each night. Telescopes tracked it feverishly, recording terabytes of data. Then, suddenly, for 12 seconds, it released a sharp burst of radiation, not destructive but precise. A pulse of energy across multiple wavelengths. Radio, infrared, even ultraviolet. All in the same pattern as the earlier signal, the one that had echoed through deep space observatories weeks earlier. Only this time, the message was unmistakable. The signal wasn't random. When decoded, it formed a series of mathematical relationships, constants like pi, e, and the golden ratio embedded one within the other. Whoever, or whatever, had built this thing understood the language of the cosmos better than we did. It was as if 3I/Atlas was introducing itself not with words, but with mathematics, the only truly universal tongue. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, the glow faded. The object drifted silently toward the sun, trailing a faint, icy mist. For a moment, it looked like it might disintegrate, torn apart by solar radiation. But instead, it veered slightly, its path changing just enough to skim past the sun's blazing corona, closer than any object had ever dared. The maneuver was impossible for a natural body, yet it survived. And then it was gone. After rounding the sun, 3I/Atlas shot outward again, faster than before, disappearing into the darkness of interstellar space. The world watched as its signal grew fainter and fainter, until even the most powerful telescopes could no longer detect it. Humanity was left with more questions than answers. Was it a probe, a messenger, or merely an artifact from a civilization so ancient that even its creators were now dust among the stars? Years passed, and the data gathered from that encounter continued to be analyzed, reinterpreted, debated. Some scientists claimed it was purely natural, a bizarre but explainable interstellar fragment. Others were convinced we had just witnessed the first undeniable sign of intelligent life beyond Earth. But amid all the noise, one truth remained. After 3I/Atlas, we could never look at the universe the same way again. It wasn't just the object that changed us. It was the realization that we might not be alone, that somewhere out there, in the cold expanse between galaxies, other minds might be watching too. Minds that understand the same laws of physics, the same mathematical beauty, the same fragile miracle of existence. And maybe, just maybe, 3I/Atlas wasn't coming to visit. Maybe it was observing, taking notes on the newest civilization to awaken among the stars. As we stare up at the night sky, tracing the faint arcs of meteors and the endless shimmer of distant suns, one can't help but wonder, when will the next visitor arrive? And this time, will it choose to stay? If you enjoyed this journey through the mystery of 3I/Atlas, this silent traveler from another world, take a moment to subscribe to the Sleepy Minds. Each story we tell brings you closer to the hidden wonders of our universe, to the questions that lie just beyond the edge of human understanding. So close your eyes, let your thoughts drift among the stars, and remember, every light you see in the night sky could be home to a story waiting to be told. And sometimes, that story decides to visit us first.